Okay, we're live. Everybody wave, smile.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet
wave
today's future, which is
look at
about
these
to happen,
handsome dudes.
and tomorrow's
my
future,
goodness.
which could be
That was so
just
exciting.
minutes away. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
And here I am, Bonnie D in the house, and happy to be back. We are on, I hope you all have, passport, ID, whatever you need. We're taking another world tour today. I have three extraordinarily interesting people. They are all futurists in the world of building, construction, what's happening to the world, where are we going, what are we going to live in, what are we going to work in, what are we going to visit in, where are we going to take care of all of our needs, what is being structured, and how is AI helping it get better? That's what we want to know. So I'm thrilled to welcome back. Just wave when I call your name, and I do have the poems for you. Don DeLoach is back, looking really sassy in that hat, Don. I like that. I want that next time. Tim W. Wolter, Wolter is back. We'll let you get away with the W. And Darryl Keeton is here. Happy to have all of you here. And let me just get started with my opening. And I have refreshed the rhymes for all of you, so you don't have to say, oh, she's doing the same thing again. I never repeat. Here we go. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where construction meets AI, and we're going to explore the how. AKA Radio Red, that's me, Scarlett Mic, host with a dream, guides this global tour where tech fuels the gleam. Don, Darryl, and Tim, our Futurists three, take us to tomorrow's buildings today for our eyes to see. From sensors to safety, new visions take flight as data and insight illuminate bright. Here we go. Don, you're up first. From Georgia Tech roots to ventures worldwide, Don's built innovation with strategy as his guide. An IoT pioneer with a global view, Don shapes smarter cities where data rings true. With Rocket Wagon Labs, he fuels new creation, turning insight to impact. Foundational innovation. I made that up, Don, and I'm going to coin that foundational innovation. I hope you like it. Through lab to launch, Don mentors with grace, helping founders accelerate the pace of the race. A futurist voice with a builder's precision, Don constructs tomorrow through caring vision. Don, how'd you like that?
It's good. I like
Good.
it.
Okay, it's better than last time you weren't so sure. I'm glad you like it. I have to invite you back for part 5. We'll see. Darryl is with us. Darryl Keeton, from Deloitte's bright start to smart streets today. That's a tongue twister. Darryl designs systems that are lighting the way. With sense of great tech, safety is his creed. AI and data responding at speed. Equity drives Darryl. Innovation is his art. Empowering change with a passionate heart. From the slopes to service, his giving is true, a leader for progress and for people too. In cities of sensors, Darryl's paving the lane, a futurist forging our smarter domain. Darryl?
I'm going to need that for my bio for my presentation next week.
There you go. Okay, my pleasure. And Tim Wolter is back. From blueprints to breakthroughs, Tim's journey runs deep. And he doesn't sleep anymore, by the way. For where purpose and progress together now leap. A moment of change gave his mission its cue. Build safety view to make workplaces safer, long overdue. AI that predicts and alerts in the right time, turning danger to learning, precision on a dime. Through training that adapts with workers in his view, Tim champions technology that protects lives anew. A builder, a thinker, a leader on site. Tim's vision constructs a future so bright. Tim, what'd you think?
Oh, I like that.
I'm glad. I like that little, okay. So stay tuned, dear audience, for insights galore where AI and construction open innovation's door. From sensors and software to safety refined, our futurist-shaped project and progress for humankind. They'll show us world sights that amaze and inspire, global examples of AI reaching higher and higher. With Don, Darryl, and Tim today, the future is rising and it's coming our way. So, how'd I do, Don? What'd you think? Was that the best ever? Tell me.
The best
ever, Bonnie.
I've known you for so many years. It's hard to get that out of you. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have an option. We can launch right into the world tour where I'm going to get rid of my sound sharing here. So open up the visual sharing for all of you, or we can do the quotes I asked you each to send me. Would you like to spend a minute on your opening quotes? What do you think?
Sure.
Quotes? Yeah. Okay, we'll do the quotes. See, this is so democratic here. All right, Don DeLoach has sent the following quote. It's from Patch Adams, played by, oh, I miss him, Robin Williams, 1998 comedy drama film. So many interesting people in it, and set in the late 1960s and early 70s, based on the life of medical doctor Hunter Patch Adams and the book Gesundheit, Good Health is a Laughing Matter by Adams and Maureen Mylander. And by the way, the real Patch Adams, I assume you know this, Don, was born in 1945, physician, comedian, social activist. He's a clown and an author. And each year he organizes volunteers worldwide to travel to countries where they dress as clowns to bring humor to orphans, patients, and others. Did you know that, Don?
I knew some of that, not all of that.
Yeah, I was very excited to find that. So here's the quote, and you're going to relate it to our topic, the future of construction, innovation, and AI. Here we go. You treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. Oh, I love that. Don, relate that to our topic, please. I'll put you
Yeah.
on speaker view. Go.
So I actually will relate that to the topic and pretty much everything that I tend to do or care about. If I had, you know how when you make $1 billion and you show up as a speaker and you have just a T-shirt with one word printed on it. Well, I haven't made the $1 billion and I'm not showing up with a T-shirt printed on it. But if I was, the word would be holistic. I think it kind of dates back to, my education is industrial engineering. And I used to joke that I never practiced industrial engineering a day in my life. And then one day I woke up and realized I've probably been practicing it every day of my life. And the work I do in so many, many instances is dealing with a set of elements that a lot of people might be inclined to treat as independent elements. But in fact, in so many ways, there are so many interdependencies in a lot of these different systems. If you're looking at a smart city, there's all these interdependencies. And it dawned on me that when you look at people and how you treat people from a medicine standpoint, from a human, welfare standpoint, there are all kinds of elements that go into helping get to the outcomes you want. And so I love this quote on a human level, but it reflects that holistic thinking that I think needs to carry through in so many other areas.
Don, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful the way you put that together. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you used that word. By the way, I haven't made the billion yet either. And I don't know what word would be on my T-shirt, but we'll figure that out sometime if we get there. Here we go. I'm running out of time. Thank you. Let's go to Darryl Keeton. Darryl loves to send me a quote that's embedded in a scene, the whole scene. So the scene is from Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins in, of course, The Shawshank Redemption, 1994 drama film based on Stephen King's 1982 novella. And I love the name of the novella better than the name of the movie, Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption. There was no thee in that. Okay, we won't go into it because everybody knows. But by the way, it's considered one of the greatest films ever made, the highest rated movie on IMDb with 9.3 and 2.4 billion positive ratings. That says something. So, Darryl, I'm just going to read the scene you sent. Andy Dufresne says, and here's the quote Darryl has picked: "That's the beauty of music. They can't get that from you." And then the quote continues, "Haven't you ever felt that way about music?" And Red, played by Morgan Red Redding, says, "I play a mean harmonica as a younger man. Lost interest in it, though. Didn't make much sense in here. They're in prison." Andy says, "Here's where it makes the most sense. You need it so you don't forget." Red, "Forget?" Andy, "Forget that. There are places in this world that aren't made out of stone, that there's something inside that they can't get to, that they can't touch, that's yours." And Red says, "What are you talking about?" And Andy answers, I'm getting goosebumps here, Darryl, "Hope." You could have just picked that one word for the quote, hope. I like that. I'm putting you on speaker view while I go cry here. So would you please tell us how this relates to our topic? Beautiful quote. Go ahead.
So I think with innovation, you have to step out of the box and tend to be the lone wolf. You're going to have naysayers. But when you're dreaming, and I think everyone on the phone call is an entrepreneur in their own right in mind, you're dreaming of kind of what you envision, and you kind of do it alone. And you're going to have people that say, no, you can't do it. So kind of reflecting on music in that scene, he kind of locked himself in the room because they got a set of uh, things for their library, and that included some record players. So he locked the door. Security's trying to break in, but he's playing the music out loud for everyone. And I kind of reflect on that is when you are innovative and creating something new, you're going to have naysayers, but you also have to share it with the world. They have to listen, they have to embrace it, and that's how you're able to accept change and get hope at the end. Because once your dream becomes true and there's a reality, that's the hope that you're providing people that they can do it too.
I like that. I like that. There will be better. We will be better. We will get better. Thank you very much. Hope is a very important word, especially in the world right now. I call it chaos and cacophony. We'll just leave those alone. No poem intended there. There we go. Okay, Tim Wolter, I'm going to your quote from Captain Jean-Luc Picard, played by the one and only Patrick Stewart. Of course, we're talking Star Trek: The Next Generation. TNG, 1987 to 1994 TV series, sci-fi TV, created by the one and only Gene Roddenberry. It only had 178 episodes. It only had 7 seasons. It was only the 3rd series in the Star Trek franchise. There we go. Very, very interesting. Let me see. I'm looking for some factoids here, and I'm not going to read them. I'm just going to read the quote. So this is interesting. Tim says, he picked the quote, "Things are only impossible until they're not." Okay, Tim, what wisdom does this quote share with us for our topic today? Go.
Yeah, I've been looking at Star Trek a lot more because we have AR glasses that make you look like a Borg. But that quote is we all face it. It's in front of us. The problems that just seem way too complex, dreams that are too far fetched, and we just label it as impossible, right? But if you think of where human history has come, from building sticks to move blocks to now we have AI, and it's a good representation of everything is impossible unless you think through it, figure out the solution, problem solve it, and then build and create the dreams, create the systems that are in place to push to the next generation. And that one really resonates with me lately, thinking outside the box and new solutions. So
I like that. Coloring outside the lines, thinking outside the box. That's what innovation is about, isn't it? It's about curiosity. It's about courage. It's about commitment. It's about change, right? That's why we're all here today. Courage, curiosity, commitment, and change. Or commitment comes first, or maybe first and last. There we go. Let's go to our world tour. Don, you're up first. I have cleared the way for you to hit the share button and whatever you want to do there. We're ready, and you have a niche you have chosen for your world tour today. So why don't you tell us about that once you start sharing?
Sure. Do you want me to do all 3 or just one at a time?
Why don't you do all 3? It'll be easier for you.
Alrighty.
There we go.
Okay. You seeing that?
Well, yes, and I'm dizzy. I'm going to fall off. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the Kutek Puat Hospital in Singapore. And from a architectural standpoint, it's an example of biophilic design, which basically is integrating nature directly into the architecture. So it has a V-shaped to it, and to capture breezes. And the patient wards are designed with wing light, like sunshades that channel the wind inwards. From an energy standpoint, and all of these have energy significance as well as healthcare significance. From energy significance, it maximizes the natural ventilation, and it reduces the need for air conditioning about 80%. And they kind of refer to it as a hospital in a garden, the way it's constructed. From a healthcare standpoint, it's designed of the philosophy of creating a healing environment where the practice of medicine and the care of people goes beyond just the administering of medical procedures and pharmaceuticals. So I liked, again, back the holistic nature of that, and it's consistent with kind of what I was saying.
Don,
So
I
that
love the greenery. I was just going to tell you, it's remarkable for seeing greenery. It looks like it's on a window in every room. I'm just taking a guess. I'm not sure exactly how those windows are divided, but it's beautiful and it's bright and it's hopeful. What do you
yeah,
think?
it
Yeah.
really is. And aesthetically, I find it to be the best of the three that I selected. They all have their attributes, but I do think that this is a really, really good example. Okay,
Okay.
this, and I apologize, the picture isn't as
That's
good,
okay.
but this is the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford. I spent a lot of time out there in the last sort of 6 or 7 years, not at the hospital, but at Stanford.
Hmm.
But I would see this all the time, and I was doing some research and realized that this had some really interesting attributes way beyond what I would see from, driving up 101 and just looking over at the hospital. It's built on a Main Street concept, and it has kind of a modular pod-like design to create a more of a family-focused and more specifically less institutional, I'm at the hospital type of uh, uh, environment. It's also LEED Platinum certified, and so and included in that is it reduces the potable water use by 80%. So it's a really
Wait a minute. Wait
thoughtful
a minute. Say that again. How much?
80%.
That sounds impossible, Don. How do they do
It's
that?
they're using a cistern system to capture rainwater for irrigation.
Wow.
It's pretty clever.
Very.
Um, but the underpinnings of this is that there's evidence that suggests access to nature aids healing, especially in children. And I thought that as a design point for creating a hospital, especially one that does a lot of work with children, I thought that was a really, really nice thing. And every patient room has a view of nature in some form or fashion. I will tell you parenthetically, um, I have spent a lot of time recently in a hospital in the Chicago area, and it's really interesting because if you look out of a room, even when it's indoors, there's a window and shades and trees, because what they did is between the rooms, there's like a hallway of sorts where they have trees planted, um, and they're managing to keep them and the way the light is constructed, it looks like you're outside. And it's another example of this whole notion of integrating nature into an environment based on the healing purposes or aspects of that. So I thought it was pretty interesting.
Don, it sounds like somebody has been listening to people who are leaders in this field saying we need to bring nature indoors. We need to give people a view that's more than just a bed and a tray and a door. We need to give patients some optimism, some opportunity to see a world outside of where they are confined at the time. So, do you see this as a trend? You've described two hospital settings right now that
Yeah,
are focusing on nature. Do we know who started this trend? Is this something brand new?
I do not. I do
Okay,
not. But I do.
interesting.
I do think it's. I'm just trying to think of. I've actually been in several different similar environments over the last 5 or 6 months, and I have noticed now that you mention it,
Yeah.
much more of that. So I do think it's trend. Not every facility I've been in has necessarily been as modern as some of these are, but
But think about
regardless,
that board meeting. Think about that design planning meeting when somebody says we have to have trees inside, or we have to have the site has to be set where we either have nature around it or we have to add nature. We have to do plantings. We have to do something. This is an important part of philosophy of our building. That's an interesting conversation that probably maybe happened years ago and then went out of fashion when people were just saying, okay, here's a city, build a hospital, damn it, you know? And so I'd like to be part of listening on the fly on the wall, flies, trees, sorry, nature. Okay. On how that went when people started saying, we want to start a trend with nature coming into the view of the patients and their families. It's
Yeah,
nice.
I think that is. The other thing I've noticed is that there seems to be a growing trend, not only with healthcare, but especially in healthcare, but a growing trend, obviously, of people building more energy efficient, sustainable buildings. And so this last one that I'm showing here is kind of in Darryl's hometown backyard in Pueblo, Colorado.
Hmm.
And this is the Pueblo Community Health Care Center or Community Health Center. And it was a pioneering model for sustainable community health care. But it's also designed for incredible efficiency. And in fact, this facility right here is the first net zero energy health center in the United States. So it produces enough renewable energy on site to meet its entire annual energy consumption. And while the other two examples I gave, the tip of the hat to the design was much more overt in its healing nature, some of the rationale behind this was that I guess the board or the people behind the initiative basically said, let's spend our money on patients. And so there's this philosophy with this particular institution that they want to put maximum focus on channeling their resources directly for patient care. So again, their operating costs, their the extent that they're subjected to energy prices, all of that is kind of taken off the table with a focus specifically on patient care. So I thought it was another interesting example of a building structure designed with purpose, as are all three of these.
As multiple purposes, and the idea of being sufficient, self-sufficient in terms of energy generation is something that needs to be adopted and adapted by so many more buildings, so many more organizations. Do you see that trend happening? Are people
Oh,
putting effort into that?
I think in a huge way.
Yeah, somebody told me I was trying to get a guest for a different episode of the show, and somebody said he's very busy homesteading, and I hadn't been familiar with the term, and I asked, and they said he's making his home self-sufficient. They're growing their own vegetables, they're generating their own power, and when you're talking about this, Don, I'm thinking that in a almost forgive me for sounding corny, but this hospital setting is almost homesteading on the energy side because they're saying we're going to grow our own, we're going to recycle, we're going to make our own energy and be self-sufficient.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, I think the bottom line on all of these is that there is a lot of thought being put into something besides just building a structure that you can stick people inside.
Yes.
And it's intriguing.
And I wonder how it's impacting the sense of being privileged to work there. I wonder how the staff think about that. It's not just the patients and their families, it's the staff.
Yeah, that's a
It's
great
the
observation.
it's the admin, it's the doctors, it's the nurses, it's the suppliers, it's the caretakers, the caregivers for the building them itself. Because a
Yeah.
building has an infrastructure that needs to be taken care of. So think about that. People saying, I'm proud and happy to work in a building that and fill in on the dotted line all the good things you just shared. See, we're
Yeah.
making this about people. Thank you, Don. That was wonderful. Really, really great choices. And by the way, I have to tell you, I'm looking at the other monitor here, which is the live streaming, and the buildings were all looking very sharp, even though they looked a little blurry here. They were looking very sharp on
Oh,
the
good.
outgoing Zoom. So, yeah, so good.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Darryl, are you ready? It's showtime.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Can you see my screen?
we can now. Thank you.
Just gonna get into presentation mode.
Oh,
So the
there we go.
first site I chose was the Toyota Woven City near Mount Fuji in Japan. It's Toyota's from ground up smart city concept that's focused on a human-centric approach to smart cities. So everything from autonomous vehicles, mobility, automated mobility, sustainability, and robots. So they're kind of combining everything you kind of hear in the news with AI recently into one location to test, validate, and innovate in their own backyard. So they started construction in 2021, and they just opened up the first phase of the project about a month ago, where 300 people have moved into portions of the city. These individuals include citizens, researchers, and employees of Toyota. So they're even experimenting with their own people, which is kind of cool.
Mm.
But they all live in a sustainable environment. Their houses are fully AI, so all smart housing. And it's kind of one of the first from ground up concepts of smart cities in the world that's launched. So it's kind of cool because it's, not building around existing infrastructure. They were able to go in and build from ground zero up to the infrastructure that they're building today. So it's a fairly innovative and forward-thinking approach. I know there's a major project in Saudi Arabia where they're building like this wall. I forget the name of that project, but this is a cool way for companies and startups to get into the door, something that I see a lot of cities being built into as the future comes along.
Darryl, aesthetically, look at the way it looks from this view. I don't know whether this must have been a drone shot, I'm guessing,
I think this
possibly.
is kind of a mock-up of the future of it. I
Okay.
don't think it's actually the view.
Okay. Well, I
Uh,
have to tell you, it's aesthetically, it looks like a bunch of waffles on top of buildings. It's very, very attractive. And what, I'm going to ask, what age group would this attract? Who would be able to say, I want a fully AI smart life?
I didn't see anything from a demographic standpoint, but my assumption is that it's going to be everyone from like newborn to elder, because smart cities, like I said, it's very human centric. So you can't just have a certain age group or demographic or generations because they're going to have a different views or perspectives. So you have to, in my assumption, have a diverse group of individuals so you can understand. Like I can see those that are elderly or have disabilities, how the robots, you're going to research how robots help them. How do they get from A to B using different forms of mobility or autonomous shuttles? How do they engage and interact from a UX UI? I can say from like getting into a Waymo, it's a different experience than getting into a normal car if you're riding in a taxi in New York. And so I think there's a philosophy of learn and research and apply. But the city will grow in its next phase to about 2,000 people as they keep building out different phases.
Very interesting. Let me ask, Darryl, would you live there? Forget about
Uh,
being Japan.
uh,
Would you live there?
100%, because my next destination, I want a walkable city where I mean, I have a car just to get to, go skiing or get out of the state or the city. But I stayed in Baltimore for 2 weeks last year, and that was like one of the most walkable cities in Fells Point, where I can get to retail and grocery or restaurants or entertainment or even a light rail or bus are fairly simple, or even getting to the airport without having to, take a long commute or Uber. Those are things that I kind of look for the future for myself, because I've traveled a lot, and the worst thing is traveling when there's traffic or having to take an hour to get to the airport.
Absolutely. Darryl, Tim, would you want to live there? Don, would you want to live there?
It's pretty. I mean,
It
the
is pretty.
aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you want a completely AI life? Don, would you see yourself living in something like this?
Uh, Potentially. I mean, yes and no. Yes, absolutely. Um, with the caveat that I have every intention of remaining married, so I would say no.
Oh, touche. That was a nice ringer you threw in there. Okay, Tim, any concerns about you? Never mind. We'll leave that one alone.
I'm with Don on this.
I'm going to
But
stay put. Very, very interesting. And you know what? A lot of this to me is the promotion of this to people is, would you want to live here? Well, if I saw this, I might say, that's really cool. I'd like to visit it first and see, or I'd like to see them make a movie about it first, or I'd like to see somebody write a novel about what it would be like to live in someplace like that. So, Darryl, very, very interesting. Darryl, you ready for your second one?
sure.
Go ahead.
So next is in my backyard in Phoenix, the TSMC. It's a new major chip manufacturing in Phoenix. As you kind of all know about the chip wars happening across the world and the potential invasion of China and Taiwan, the United States to secure chip manufacturing and be part of the leaders is they brought TSMC from Taiwan, not the actual factory itself, but they built up two facilities in Phoenix. When you drive by the highway and you see it, it's like huge. Intel also has a couple of facilities that are pretty big, but this place is just ginormous. But it's state-of-the-art innovation for building and manufacturing chips. They brought in people from Taiwan to help set up and run the manufacturer until Americans can take over those leadership roles and manufacturing roles. I don't know too much about the technology inside of it, but I think it's more highlighting on the construction, innovation, and policy that it takes to make sure that the United States continue to lead in innovation, especially with making the investment into a international company to build their facility in the United States. And Phoenix is one of those markets where data centers are growing, and it's also a huge chip manufacturing hub in the United States. I would almost say it's either one or two in the United States for manufacturing of chips. This is going to play a critical role as we progress over the years in the potential threat of Taiwan not being a key manufacturing source for chips. And in this AI race that we're seeing, especially with like GPUs with NVIDIA, these manufacturing facilities are key for the growth and sustainability of what's to come with AI. So it's kind of also like pretty cool that you have this, and then you have a bunch of data centers popping up across the valley. So kudos to the policymakers in Arizona and Phoenix to get these kind of companies coming into the valley. It's grown. When I first moved there to Arizona, we were a real estate market economically, and now we're, a tech hub. Have a lot of different major corporations, private businesses setting up headquarters or second offices throughout the valley.
And Darryl, I want to point out something, Don. If you are noticing what I'm noticing, I see lots of plantings of little trees and shrubs and bushes. Do you see them? Do you see them, Darryl and Tim? I
the,
see
I do.
green.
the desert landscaping, yes, it's really unique.
Somebody decided to put plants into it looks like they're contained in a wall around the building, the big one on the left there. Very, very interesting. So we're allowed to see green as well. Very, very interesting. Wow.
And the sustainability, I can't tell you a parking lot that I've seen this many parking solar panels before. Like every single parking spot almost has coverage of solar panels.
And what's the benefit of that? Is that for EVs? Are there EV charging stations
Um,
or for electric vehicles? Talk to me.
I'm sure, but Arizona has just became like a small hub of solar farms. So when you
Hmm.
have this kind of facility or even data centers, it's drawing away a lot of power, and there's a lot of water usage for facilities like this. So you have to find other forms of kind of getting that source directly to you versus pulling it in from the major utility companies. In Arizona, even for water, I think there's an increase in pricing about 3%. Utilities were third in the nation for highest cost of utilities. And that's if you just think about the summer lasts from June to about October. So you have like a 6 months of 100, 110-degree temperatures. So
Mm.
it's a resource constraint market. And it's unfortunately getting dire as the years continue.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. Okay. And your third one. You're up.
So even though I'm based out of Arizona, I've been staying
Ah.
in Denver recently, and
Mhm.
they've been working on about a 5-year innovation plan. So one of their new things is they've opened up new TSA lines, which is helpful. I have TSA pre-check, but I hate dealing with security lines. That's why I was kind of talking about, traveling far from an airport. I'm not really big on getting to the airport early. So I like to get in and get out, get on the plane, get in and get out. But what they've done is they've created new higher standards of screening, but they have kind of access points that are quicker. But the biggest thing that I want to highlight about this is the use of LiDAR technology to help track the time it takes to get through security lines. So I would say I showed up one time to go to LA at a late flight and they only had one of the security areas open and it was a cluster. I would say the time wasn't right because the line exceeded the area and the rope offs that they had. It went quickly from the sense of like moving halfway through the airport to get into security.
Mm.
But when I do arrive, I check the times and I choose a side to go on, and it's pretty efficient knowing like how long it's going to take to get through security. So I'm mentally prepared of, am I going to catch my flight or miss it? But also you can go online and check the times for security lines. So when you're arriving, you know when and where. But the use of LiDAR is something that our company uses, and these sensors from the technology I understand, they're all fused together. So they have a 3D digital footprint, seeing almost every movement of people and being able to track you as a unique object without personally identifying who you are, to see how long it takes you to go from A to B, to give an aggregate time that it takes to get through security, so that people are better aware of delays. And especially right now with airports,
Oh yeah.
on the news, I think it was Atlanta, that like the lines going outside into the curve and the parting area. So I don't think that technology will work when the lines exceed that far, but it's newer technologies to make airports smarter, not just cities. So getting that queue information helps create efficiencies for airports. And I think that's a really good, bold move for airports to give that customer appeal that they're, we're easy to come through and travel.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. Okay, you're going to stop sharing. And Tim, you already teed up here?
Yeah.
T for
Let's
Tim.
see.
Okay. Thank you, Darryl.
You're welcome.
Great examples. Here we
All
go.
right.
What we got?
The first one is the line in Saudi Arabia. This is a good representation of how technology and cities come together, because they're creating this 170-kilometer, 105-mile long mirrored line in the desert. And it will house homes and it will have rails going across it. A massive undertaking, and just shows kind of where things are going and how AI is playing a part in cities. It'll have all the businesses. It reminds me of like the sci-fi stuff where you see the things up in the big cities and space type stuff is kind of what it reminds me of. But carbon footprint, utilizing different components for smarter and climate and all that. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Okay.
renewable energy, things of that nature.
Oh, you got that pointer there. You got the
Yeah, there's a
very, very
rail
cool. Wait a
system.
minute. I've never seen it looking like a meteor. That's
Yeah.
usually it's just a little dot. You want to give us a little tech tip here? How do we get that if we want to do any? I'm assuming it's PowerPoint.
No, it's Google Drive.
Really?
The new one has a bunch of settings. You can have a pen where you can write. You can have a laser pointer to where you point. It's great for presentations, so you can say,
Yeah.
"Hey, look, like here's apartments and stuff like
Thank
that."
you.
So,
Just starting. I
yeah.
didn't mean to distract you, but I was saying, wow, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, we got to give it a name there. You want to know?
When
We're
you,
not.
when you go into presenter mode, you got all these different features now, and
I'll
then
be
you have
darned.
different
So much
Q&A
fun.
and different things. So, yeah.
Thank you. We got plenty of time. Take your time. Anything more you want to talk about this one? You want to show us more pointers? Go ahead.
I see there's a walkway here, but
We got 17 minutes, so go ahead and take your time, Tim.
yeah, I mean the next one's is a little bit longer. I mean
Yeah.
this is in they're producing it. It's just massive in scale. So but shows you where technology is going. And even when you look at it from a construction perspective, you got guys working in incredible heats. I mean,
Yeah.
and AI and utilizing AI to like fatigue. We've been looking a lot at fatigue risk and warnings and for safety view. So if you think of like temperatures this high, when does fatigue hit? When does your hours increase for fatigue and things like that? So yeah.
Interesting. Are there specific parameters in Fahrenheit or Celsius for that kind of fatigue? We're talking window fatigue. We're talking about glass, or we're talking about people, or both?
I'm talking about people and fatigue for actually the construction of this.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, like when you're constructing a wall that you have, what was it? So this section between it's 200 meters apart, and then it's going to be 170 kilometers long. And the vertical, I had the vertical somewhere. Yeah. But then your vertical wall height with glass and mirrors, I mean, that's 500 meters tall. So that's pretty big. Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Go.
Oh, more green. Don, it's your day. Did Don tell you to pick a building with a lot of green?
No, but I was giggling when he showed us the first one.
Okay.
That's a Chia building.
The Bosco. Yeah, this is Milan. So 800 trees and 20,000 shrubs and plants on this. It was 20-foot tall oak trees they were kind of looking at on how, when they're looking at how to do trees, because it's not just the trees and the architecture, right? It's what's the wind dynamics coming across that? How do you keep the plants from getting ripped out in winds and everything else? So when they were constructing it, they had to go through, okay, what's the maintenance look like, the engineering on this thing? It's equivalent to 12 acres of forest is what they have planted on this.
What now? How many buildings are we looking at here? I'm seeing two structures. What else are we? Two. And how many acres of forestation?
It's equivalent to over 12 acres of traditional forest.
And how do they irrigate it, Tim?
Yeah, that's part of the engineering. They had to look at, okay, how do we have the irrigation in it? It says that the project was the Flying Gardens team of arborists who certified to climb up. They had to look at the irrigation, the complexity of the new risk, as well as its perpetual maintenance risk for the life of the building. The Flying Gardens represent the new high-risk hybrid job, creates massive management challenge, and meticulously track the certifications of people that have to care for these, and make sure the trees are good.
And what happens if you're living in, I'm looking at the left building here on the lower section, and it looks like one of the trees from the above is just hanging down in front of their window. Whom do you call and say, we need this fern trimmed. We can't see the sunrise in the morning. I'm just,
Yeah, so they have to have, like what the notes were, they had to have, it created more new job opportunities for more professional arborists. And then it's a complex IoT irrigation system to be designed to be smart, to monitor not just the plant health, but the building safety. And predict a pipe failure that could create dangerous risks. It's amazing, but it's, when Don showed his at first, and it was like, yeah, cool. Look, the plant is looking out. I mean, you're looking at these massive plants, right? And
I know. Are they all evergreens of some kind? I don't see any flowers, so they look like they're all something that's very hardy. Yes.
Have the actual plants. What I saw, it says it's built for a 20 tall oak tree. The picture, it's built to handle that, but the picture is the skyscrapers with 800 trees and 20,000 shrubs and plants near a park on top of that, a vertical forest in downtown Milan.
Don, what do you think? Don, you want to react? He's going to unmute. Don, you're still muted.
Again, I think it has a interesting and borderline disturbing look to it. But
I had a feeling. Go ahead, expand.
But I think it's cool. I mean, I think that the innovation that people show in certain ways is intriguing. I'm not sure I'd want to I'd want to live there.
In a bush?
Yeah. Like like I said before, it looks like a chia building. Like it rained and those two happen to just grow fir. but
If
cool
if anybody
nonetheless.
doesn't know, Don's talking about the chia pet, which was advertised on TV for years, where you have these little plants from seeds that grow into out of this little ceramic thing. It could be a shape, right? A hedgehog or something like that. It sits on a table or desk and it grows out of it. I'm saying it correctly, Don?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Chia pet. Yeah, okay. Oh, chia, chia,
So
chia. There was a song and everything. Go ahead, Tim.
the goal, I guess, from the architect was to build a prototype of architectural biodiversity, build a structure that fights air pollution, absorbs CO2, and produces oxygen, creates a brand new urban habitat for birds and insects, which makes me not want to live there now at all.
I was waiting for the insect part. Yeah, yeah, I know. So much for that. Yeah, I know. What's creeping and crawling, but it sure looks pretty. Okay,
It
you got a
does.
third building, Tim?
Yeah. So, oops. The third one, oops, I missed that. It's the city's design to drink rain. It's so China has a big initiative because of all the flooding out there, is how do we get away from the flooding? And this kind of goes to kind of stacks on all three of them on biodiversity and then the line. And then to my quote is like, how do we in a city that is or cities that have all this rain, that has all the flooding, how do we get away from that? And I found the Sponge City very interesting, and I went on a deep dive trying to figure it out and how it actually works. But essentially, they're ripping up concrete, they're ripping up different pieces to put sponges under it to absorb the water and then push it back through like a drainage system and recirculate that for plant growth and other things instead of the city's just being flooded. So it's extremely innovative, and every time I wash the dishes, I'm going to be thinking about how a city could sit on it. But even as a kid, you have like projects where you put a sponge or a piece of wood and you see what you can stack on it. That's what it reminded me of. But so yeah.
Darryl or Don, you want to comment on this? Don, we're just overflowing with greenery here today. Look what you started. I know you three didn't get together before the show and say, let's all do green today, but go ahead, Don. Any thoughts?
I mean, I'm a big fan of, within certain limits, as Tim was able to push, a big fan of incorporating greenery. So like when I look at this, it reminds me like of, in some ways, of Boston Garden, in some ways of the Reservoir in New York. I think that having cities that have green spaces, water, it just makes them, in my mind, to be more livable, more vibrant environments. I think that the level of thought that is going in behind this and how they're dealing with it is just amazing.
I would still like to be that fly on the wall, or no, let's get away from the insect idea here. I would like to be sitting in on the planning for all of this, to hear who was the one who said, hey, let's get plants in there. Let's make it green. Let's have a chia building. Let's have a floating sponge city. Imagine somebody had to be the first one to say, this is a good idea. We'll figure out the budget. We'll figure out the logistics. We'll figure out the maintenance of the whole thing. We'll figure out how to market it, how to make people excited about it, how to make it vibrant and living so that people would say, well, it looked good for the first 6 months, but now what the heck is that? So there's so much that must have gone into that first. Somebody had to have a strong argument for this and had to get people on board. So we're talking about a team of innovators, aren't we, Tim? Do you want to comment on that?
This is the government's initiative. They're leading that because of the catastrophic floods. Their goal is to reuse 70% of all stormwater and get rid of all the gray and green infrastructure to move to this type of system. Engineers, I mean, obviously when we talk about AI is being used, AI, predictive modeling, all that's being put into play here. So
it's still a group of people sitting in a team somewhere saying, okay, the government should do this, right? Somebody had to start that conversation. Darryl, any thoughts on this?
I was just thinking every major city needs this in the United States. I could think about New York flooding every year now, which is kind of crazy. And all the water coming into the subways and
Oh yeah.
just really impacting people's lives. In the western part of the United States, the drought that's been almost 2 decades, I want to say. Like I know California, they don't capture about 90 something percent of their storm water. So this is a model that needs to be implemented across the United States, especially in Arizona. And even Denver is struggling with droughts. So this is kind of needed. And I think the challenge is the cost. And then where do you build this infrastructure? This from the sample of the photo looks like it's built in the middle of the city. So like how do you change, the ground and everything and build down and build back up to do it would be a huge undertaking. But it's something that I think is needed across many, many cities.
Very well
There
put.
is photos out there that where they have actually done this with more mock up, just to show the brevity of it. But there are photos out there of where they did it, and that's part of like their green roof initiatives to plant greenery on the roofs. The biggest risk in this is contractors can't cut corners, can't like if because they got to rip up all the streets, and the streets have to be a permeable pavement. And if any corners are cut, the risk gets high. So, but it's incredibly innovative, and what they're doing with it is as Darryl said, it should be adopted in a lot of cities that face a lot of flooding, and reusing that water, pushing it down, getting rid of some of that green waste and some other things. I mean, it's it's genius, and so
Well, you can even apply this to individual housing where people capture stormwater from the roof and then recirculate for doing showering, gardening, kind of their own water in their own backyard, like solar. It's just, I don't think that initiative is put in front of the consumer's mind, but I think that's where we have to grow. It's you may have to put like a tank next to your house or buried, and but those are things I've seen a couple people do. But I think we need more of that to be more sustainable,
Yep.
not depend on our infrastructure. And I say that because of all the data centers that are coming out and how much water and power that are being
oh yeah.
utilized. And the policymakers are having to have that tough discussion of like who's really going to be paying for this increased cost because shouldn't be the consumer. We're already, you know, pretty tight on cost, but we need to look at other ways to grow innovation, but also make sure it doesn't impact the people who are, multi-billion-dollar companies are offloading the cost to us.
Thank you. Enough said. You made your point. Thank you. We get it. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah.
Let's go back to our panel view here when you're done. Okay.
Yep.
And I wanted to share two things before we go. We just have a couple minutes, but I'm going to see if I can do a quick screen share here. And I want to honor the three of you. Let me go to my desktop number one and let me do hold on. I'm just going to share. I don't want you to see everything there, but I'm going to bring a picture over here. Can you all see this? I am thrilled that the three of you are among my Cool Dudes Hall of Fame, and I found your pictures. Don, you're down here somewhere. Here's Don. See my cursor going around here? And here is Tim, and this looks like Darryl as well. And you're among the first 48 gentlemen, cool dudes, to be on my new show, We Dish, TOO, and Cap, Saucy Dame plus Cool Dude. And I wanted to thank you for sharing, not just on this part four, part three, part two, part one of this world tour, which is something I haven't done with other guests. But I want to thank you for sharing your stories with me and my audiences on how cool you all really are. So why don't you I can't do the sharing of the audio because I'm sharing the screen right now, but I wanted to thank you, and you're all invited. I'm doing a special crystal ball with cool dudes coming up on December 3rd and 17th. But if you can't do that, gentlemen, you'll be invited to the regular Technology Revolution crystal ball specials in January. So I want to make sure we get you all back for that. Okay. So I'm going to go to, I would really love to have you. I'm going to go back and get the audio up here. So quick question before we close. We've got about a minute before I have to play the outro. Question, Don, if you could live in any of these new infrastructure places, a city, a building, a structure, anywhere, where would your ideal, we know we want to stay married. We already heard that point, but where would you want to live that AI is helping with construction innovation? Just one dream, one goal, or one, I'm thinking about it. Don, and then Darryl.
That's a tough one, but I'm going to say Chicago.
Okay. Oh, all right. There he is. There he stays. Okay. Thank you very much. Darryl, where would you like to be?
The line, I've been following that project that Tim showed, so that seems pretty innovative, and it's the probably most walkable city that will be made.
Okay. All right. And Tim, you want to go there too?
I mean, it's a tough question because it's the balance between like where all my family is and stuff. If it was just I was single, just had to go somewhere, the line would be one of those. Yeah.
Would be one of those. Okay, that's good to know.
I'm happy where I'm at now.
Okay, well, I will tell you, I'm here in Tennessee, and I thought it was going to be the warm South, and we woke up to 25-degree temperatures the other day. And a couple months ago, we were hovering over 100. And I just put in a lot of new green landscaping around my house, and I didn't know that I was supposed to be out there with a hose watering 3 minutes of medium trickle to soaking on each of 25 plants every day for the first week. And then, my goodness, it was 25 degrees. So I didn't have to go out yesterday, but it's 50 today and I have to. So talk about infrastructure, talk about AI. I need a robot, Darryl, that will come and water these damn plants for me, because you can see me standing there with a hose with my boots on with a lawn full of vole holes, because you just keep sinking in, walking from plant to plant and tree to tree, making sure they get their water. So that's my goal this afternoon. I want to thank the three of you so much. I want to wish you all very, very happy, merry holidays. If you want to join the special on December 3rd or 17th, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm insisting that you join me on one of the Wednesdays in January for the full Crystal Ball prediction show. So I'm going to give you all a round of applause if I can find it. No, I'm just going to play the outro here. So let's see if we can get this going here. Okay.
Are you tired of hearing the future is already here?
I
We
know.
are too.
Yep.
That may have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet.
Not
Take a
quite.
deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now are shaping every aspect
Here
of
we go.
our real future.
Get ready for
We'll
it.
laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech like artificial intelligence,
Yes.
machine learning,
Yes.
Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more. Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now, with the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure. We recorded that about, I think, 6 or 8 years ago, and it still works. So there you go. Okay, gentlemen, let's wave goodbye. Oh, every time I raise my hand, it moves me around. Lower the hand. Thank you to Jordan Henson, our engineer, we're on the business channel at Voice America Media, and I've got us on LinkedIn, on Facebook twice, and on my own YouTube site.